Hello and welcome to this Christmas tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to make a Christmas friendship bracelet, and this time I will make a chevron bracelet. In order to begin the bracelet I need some yarn. So these yarns are about 70 to 75 centimeters long, that is about 28 inches long. And as you can see here we have a loop, and let's begin by making the loop. I will grab the yarns at the beginning and the end of my loop, so my loop should be at least this long, and I will start twisting the yarns this way on the portion that I want to be turned into my loop, bracelet loop. And now I will superpose the two ends of my loop like this. I will let go, and as you can see my yarns will twist this way, one around the other. And at the basis of this loop I will make a knot this way. So this is my loop. Now I will take the clamp and grab the yarns and I will order the yarns. So I will put the red yarns on the outside, then I will put in the middle the white yarns, and here on the inside I will put the green yarns. In order to create a chevron bracelet, the order of my colors will be in the mirror. So what we have on the left side will mirror the colors, the order of the colors that we have on the right side. So we have red on the outside, then white, and here in the middle the green yarns. And in order to create the chevrons, the yarns on the left side will be knotted using the forward knot, whereas on the right side I will make only backward knots. And when I get to this place here in the middle, I can do either forward or backward knots, or a mixture of forward knot and backward knot, or backward knot and forward knot. So in the middle you have the freedom to choose what kind of knots you want to make. And let's begin now with the creation of the Christmas bracelet, chevron bracelet. I will begin, as I said, with the forward knots on the left side. So left side forward knots, right side backward knots. I will begin with the forward knots on the left side, and in order to make a forward knot I will create the shape of the number 4 like this. Then I will put my finger under the white yarn, grab with my nail the red yarn, take the red yarn out through the loop and tighten the knot like this. So I have made the first knot, and I will make 2 knots on each yarn. So I will make another forward knot on the same yarn. So all the knots are double knots, not a simple knot, but 2 knots on each yarn. I will take the green yarn and again make a forward knot. I create the number 4 like this. I grab the yarn like this, take it out through the loop and make 1 forward knot and the second forward knot. And as you can see, my red yarn has moved forward by making forward knots from this place here to the middle here. So the yarn went forward by making forward knots. So forward in this direction, towards the right. Now I have brought the red yarn to the middle, and let's go to the right side. Here I will make backward knots. What is a backward knot? I will create the number 4 but in the mirror. I will put my finger under the white yarn, grab with my nail the red yarn, take the red yarn out through this loop and tighten the backward knot. And again I make the second backward knot, and I have created the 2 knots, backward knots on the white yarn. I will make 2 backward knots on the green yarn, so 1 backward knot and another backward knot, and my red yarn has moved backward. From the right side here it moved backward in this direction, and it is now in the middle, like this. So backward knots move the yarn backwards to the left, whereas the forward knots move the yarn forward to the right. And now, as you can see, our yarns are no longer on the outside here, they are in the middle here. And as I explained to you initially, when we have those yarns in the middle here, we can make any type of knots we like. We can make 2 forward knots, 2 backward knots, or a combination, a forward and a backward knot, or a backward and a forward knot. So let's make 2 forward knots. So the number 4, 1 forward knot, and the second forward knot, like this. And let's see from a closer distance. Now we have created the first chevron, the red chevron. Now, as you can see, on the sides we no longer have the red yarns, we have the white yarns, because we brought the red yarns in the middle here. So what we are going to do now is take the white yarns and follow the same steps as we did with the red yarns. So let's make forward knots on the left side, so 2 knots on each yarn, so 1 and 2 forward knots on the green yarn, 1 and 2 forward knots on the red yarn, and my white yarn has moved forward, so towards the right, and is now in the middle. Now let's use the white yarn to make backward knots. So I'll make 1 backward knot and 2 backward knots on the green yarn, 1 backward knot and 2 backward knots on the red yarn. And here we have the white yarns, and I'll make 1 forward knot and a second forward knot. And let's see what we have created now. So as you can see, we have a white chevron. And let's repeat the same steps with the green yarns that we have now on the sides. So as you can see, my white yarns have also moved from the sides to the middle. Now let's do the 2 forward knots, 1 forward knot, the second forward knot with the green yarn on the red yarn, 1 forward knot, 2 forward knots on the white yarn, and my green yarn has moved forward from the outside to the inside. Now let's take the green yarn and make the backward knots. So the shape of the number 4 in the mirror, and I will make 1 backward knot and the second backward knot on the red yarn, 1 backward knot and the second backward knot on the white yarn. I have brought the green yarn backwards from the outside to the inside here, so it went backwards to the left, and we have the 2 green yarns in the middle, and we make 1 forward knot and a second forward knot. And as you can see, I have also created the 3rd chevron, the green chevron, for the Christmas pattern. So we have red, white and green for the Christmas pattern. So as you can see, I have created these 3 chevrons, and the next chevrons will also be a red chevron, so the way they will follow one after the other, these 3 colors, red, white and green. And we shall continue making these chevrons in this order until I obtain the desired length of the bracelet. And then I will show you how to create the bracelet tie. So there are many ways how you can create a bracelet tie. I will choose one of those options for the bracelet tie, and I will show you how to make the tie. Another aspect that I forgot to mention is that whenever you work with those yarns, you must be always careful not to mix the yarns, not to put them in the wrong order, because the design of your bracelet will be modified if you change by mistake the order of your yarns. So always be careful to have your yarns put in the right order. So let's continue making the chevrons until we finish the bracelet, and then I shall create the bracelet tie. And now that I have finished the bracelet, I will create the bracelet tie. So I will take those yarns and I will start braiding. I will separate the yarns like this, and I will take the red yarn and from the left side and put it here on the inside on the right side. I will take the other the right yarn from the right from the outside from here and put it on the inside here and cross it with the other red yarn. Now I will take the white yarn and put it on the inside here, take the other white yarn and cross it with the first white yarn. Now I'll take the green yarn and put it on the inside, take the other green yarn and put it and cross it here on the inside. Now I will put the red yarn again on the inside and cross it with the other yarn like this, and I will continue braiding the yarns this way, and then I will make a knot at the end of my tie. And now I will make a knot I will cut the yarns, and now let's see what the bracelet looks like. I will open the loop. I'll open the twisted part of the loop. And I'll put the tie through the loop like this. As you can see, the loop will twist back, and this is the finished Christmas bracelet. And this is what the bracelet looks like. I will use these yarns to create a Christmas friendship bracelet. This time I will create a bordered bracelet, a candy stripe bordered bracelet. So in order to create the Christmas pattern, I will use the Christmas colors. I will use green, red and white. Let's begin with the loop. So this is the portion where I will make the loop. The entire length of these cords, I forgot to mention, from this point to this point here is about 70 centimeters, that is about 28 inches long. In order to make the loop, I will grab the loop at the 2 points where the loop should begin and where it should end. So I will grab the loop like this, and I will start twisting the yarns this way until I feel that there is tension in the yarns this way. Now I will put the 2 ends of my loop one over the other, and as you can see, the yarns will twist around each other like this, and here at the basis of my loop I will make a simple overhand knot like this, and I have created my loop. So this will be my loop. Put the border yarns on the margins. So let's make a green border, and in the middle I will use white and red. So in order to make the candy stripes, I will put the colors in this order. First red, then white, and then the pattern will repeat, red and white. So with the red and the white yarns, I will create the middle of the bracelet, which will be candy stripes. Whereas for the borders, I will keep the yarns always on the margins, and I will put those green yarns on the margins, as you can see here. And as a basic rule, for the margins, for the borders, in order to keep the yarns on the margin, I will make forward and backward knots. So here on this yarn I will make a forward knot to bring the yarn forward to the right, and then a backward knot which will bring my green yarn back to its original position on the margin. So a forward knot and a backward knot on this left yarn. On the right yarn I will make a backward knot which will bring the yarn backward to the middle towards the left, and then a forward knot which will bring the green yarn back on its original position on the outside on the margin. So forward and backward knot here, and backward and forward knot here on the right. For the candy stripes in the middle, I will always make forward knots. So here on these 4 yarns I will make forward knots, only forward knots. So let's begin. I take the green border yarn and make the forward knot. In order to make the forward knot, I create the shape of the number 4 like this. I will put my finger under the red yarn, grab with my nail the green yarn, take the green yarn out through the loop and tighten the forward knot. In order to make a backward knot, I will create the 4 in the mirror like this. I put my finger under the red yarn, grab with my nail the green yarn, take the green yarn out through the loop and tighten the knot. And as you can see, by making the forward knot, my green yarn moved from the left side to the right side, and by making the backward knot, it moved from the right side back to its original position on the left side on the outside. Now let's take the other green yarn and make the backward knot, so the 4 in the mirror. 1 backward knot like this. My yarn has moved from the right to the left, backward, and now I will make the forward knot, so the number 4 like this, and my yarn has moved back to its original position forward on the outside. So I have created the green border, and now let's make the first candy stripe, the red candy stripe. So what did I say? I will make only forward knots on the inside. with the red and the white yarns. So for a forward knot I will make the number 4 like this. I will put my finger under the white yarn, grab the red yarn, take it out through the loop, and I made a first forward knot. Then I will make a second forward knot on the same yarn. Now I take the next yarn, the red yarn, I make one forward knot, the second forward knot. I take the last white yarn, one forward knot, and the second forward knot. Now let's make again the border, one forward knot and one backward knot. So I made one forward knot and one backward knot on the margin. Here I again make one backward knot and one forward knot. And now I will take the white yarns and I make one forward knot, the second forward knot, one forward knot, the second forward knot, one forward knot, and the second forward knot. And I brought the white yarn on the side here. Let's see from a closer distance. So we have already created the green borders and the candy stripes in the middle. So we have a red candy stripe and a white candy stripe. And we shall continue doing the same steps. So now we shall make a red candy stripe and the borders, and we shall continue making the candy stripes until I obtain the desired length of my bracelet. And then I will show you how to create the bracelet tie and close the bracelet. So let's continue. And now that I have finished the bracelet, I will close the bracelet. So because those yarns are a bit too short, I will not make tie. I will simply make an overhand knot here, like this. So I have created a knot. I will take the scissors and cut. This way. And now let's see what the bracelet looks like. So I will open this loop here. I will put the knot through the loop here. And the bracelet is finished. So this is how we close the bracelet. And this is what our bracelet looks like. So this is what the bracelet looks like. The Christmas bracelet. I will show you how to create a Christmas friendship bracelet using these two colors, green and red. So the length of the yarns is about 70 to 75 centimeters. That would be about 28 inches. So from this to this end, the yarns are about 70 centimeters long. And this is where I am going to make the loop of the bracelet. I will grab the two ends of the loop. So the loop should extend from this point to this point, and I will start by twisting the yarns. Now I will superpose the two ends of the yarns like this, of the loop, and the yarns will twist around one another like this. And here I will make a knot to close the loop. This way. So this will be our loop. And now I will grab the yarns with the clamp like this, and I will separate the colors, and I will put the yarns in order so that I can create the friendship bracelet. So as you can see, I will make the margins of the bracelet red, and the middle of the bracelet will be green. In order to keep the margins red, I will make forward and backward knots on the red yarns. This way, these red yarns will create a border, whereas the green yarns will create a green line in the middle of the bracelet. So practically with the green yarns I will create chevrons, and with the red yarns I will create the red borders of my Christmas bracelet. So on the left red yarn I will make a forward and a backward knot. On the right red yarn I will make a backward and a forward knot, and then on the two left green yarns I will make forward knots, and on the two right yarns I will make backward knots, whereas in the middle here I will make either forward knots or backward knots, or a mixture of forward and backward knots. So let's begin. I will create a forward knot with the red yarn. So I will create the shape of the number 4 like this. I will put my finger under the green yarn. I will grab with my nail the red yarn. I will take the red yarn out through the loop, and I will make the first knot. And as you can see, I brought the red yarn from the left side towards the right side because I made a forward knot, and the forward knot makes the yarn move forward towards the right. Now, in order to bring the yarn back on its initial position, I will make a backward knot. The backward knot will bring the yarn back. So in order to make the backward knot, I will make a 4 in the mirror like this. I will put my finger under the green yarn here. I will grab the red yarn with my nail, take it out through the loop, and I have created the backward knot. And as you can see, my red yarn is back on its initial position. With the other yarn, I will make a backward knot like this, and my yarn goes backward towards the left, and then a forward knot like this. and my yarn goes back to its original position on the outside. So these red yarns will create the bracelet borders. And now with the green yarns I will make chevrons. So I will make 2 forward knots, 1 and 2 on the left side. I will make 2 backward knots, 1 and 2. So here I made 2 backward knots, and in the middle I will make 2 forward knots. So here I can make either 2 forward knots or 2 backward knots, or a forward and a backward knot, or a backward and a forward knot. So now I have created the green line in the middle. Again, let's make the borders, the red borders. Let's see from a closer distance. So I will make 1 forward and 1 backward knot. Here on the right I will make 1 backward and 1 forward knot. And now with the green yarns I will make 2 forward knots, 1 and 2, 2 backward knots, 1 and 2, and in the middle 2 forward knots, 1 forward knot and the second forward knot, like this. Now as you can see, here we have a red border, and in the middle we have a green line. Actually the green line is made of chevrons. And I'm going to continue making the borders, the red borders and the green line in the middle, until I create a bracelet long enough to fit around my wrist, and then I will show you how to create a bracelet tie. And now that the bracelet is finished, let's make the bracelet tie. So in order to make the bracelet tie, I will separate the colors like this, and I will start braiding. I will take the red yarn from the outside, from here, put it on the inside, on the right side, and then I will take the other red yarn and cross it with my first yarn this way. Then I will take the next green yarn, put it on the opposite side, and take the other green yarn from the right side and put it along the yarns. I will cross the 2 green yarns like this, and I will take the last green yarn from the left side, put it on along the cords on the right side, take the green yarn from the right side, put it parallel with the yarns on the left side, and this is how I have begun the braiding of my tie, bracelet tie. So as you can see here, I have already started braiding the bracelet tie. So let's continue braiding. Again, I will put the red yarns and cross them. From the outside I will put them on the inside and cross them this way. Then I will take the next green yarn, I'll take the other green yarn, again I will take the red yarn and cross the 2 red yarns like this, and I will continue braiding until I finish braiding the tie, and then I will make a knot. And now I will make the knot at the end of the tie. I will cut. This way. And the bracelet is ready. And now let's see what the bracelet looks like. So I will open the loop this way. I'll put the tie through the loop, like this. And the bracelet is ready. So this is what the finished bracelet looks like. I will show you how to make a Christmas friendship bracelet using these yarns. So the yarns are about 80 centimeters long. That is about 30 inches long, and I will create the wolf teeth shape, so the triangles. So half of my bracelet will have red triangles, the other half will have green triangles. So let's first of all create the knot, which will mark the point where the bracelet begins and where the tie should also begin. I'll make an overhand knot to separate the tie from the bracelet. So this bit of yarns will form the tie, like this. Now I will grab the yarns with my clamp, like this. And I will separate my yarns. So I will put the green yarns on one side and the red yarns on the other side. And I will begin in the middle here by making a forward and a backward knot. In order to make the forward knot, I will create the shape of the number 4. I'll put my finger under the green yarn. I will grab the red yarn with my nail, and I will take the red yarn out through this loop and make the first knot. Now I will make a backward knot, that is the number 4 in the mirror, and I will put my finger under the green yarn, take the red yarn out through this loop, and I have created the backward knot, like this. And now with these two yarns I will create forward knots. So I will make one forward knot, so the shape of the number 4, and the second forward knot. One forward knot and the second forward knot, this way. And now I will take the green yarn and make backward knots. So the number 4 in the mirror, I will make one backward knot, the second backward knot, and on the second yarn one backward knot, and the second backward knot. And here in the middle I have these two yarns, and I will use the green yarn to make one backward knot and one forward knot, this way. And now let's continue. I will make one forward knot and another forward knot with the red yarns, one forward knot and another forward knot, like this. One backward knot and another backward knot, and one backward knot and another backward knot, and here with the red yarn I will make one forward knot and one backward knot, this way. Again, I will make one forward knot, another forward knot, one forward knot, another forward knot, one backward knot, another backward knot, one backward knot, another backward knot, and here in the middle I will use the two yarns and I will make one backward knot and one forward knot. And let's see what pattern I have created. So as you can see, I have already created one triangle and half of the other green triangle. And I have a red triangle here. So we shall continue making the same steps. So 2 forward knots on the red yarns, 2 backward knots on the green yarns, and in the middle I will alternate the forward and backward knots with the red yarn, and with the green yarn the backward and forward knot. And I shall continue making those triangles or wolf teeth until I obtain the desired length of the bracelet. And once I have made a bracelet, I will show you how to create the bracelet tie. So let's continue. And now that I have finished the bracelet, I will create the bracelet tie. So I have these 3 yarns and I will start braiding. So I will take the yarn from the left side and put it here on the inside on the right side. I will take the other yarn from the outside and put it here on the inside and cross the 2 yarns like this. I will take the next yarn, put it on the inside. I will cross it with the other yarn from the other side, and I will continue braiding like this. Let's see from a closer distance. So I take the yarn from the outside and cross it with the yarn from the other side. So I have crossed these 2 yarns. So I take the green yarn, put it on the other side like this, take the outside red yarn and cross it with the other yarn like this. And now that I have created the tie, I will make a knot. I'll cut the yarn, and now I will open the knot that I created here. And I will also braid those yarns. So I will take the green yarn from the outside and put it parallel with the red yarn from the inside. Then I will take the red yarn from the outside and cross it, put it on the inside, and parallel with the green yarns and cross it with the other green yarn. Then I will take the next green yarn and cross it with the next red yarn like this. The next green yarn, I'll cross it with the next red yarn. And I will continue braiding like this. I will make a knot here. And now let's see the finished bracelet. So this is what the bracelet looks like, and we can close the bracelet by knotting the ties of the bracelet like this. Or we can make a sliding knot. I will take one of the ties, I'll wrap it around my finger like this, and I have created this loop. I will put the tie through the loop like this to create an overhand knot. I will take the other tie, put it through this loop here. Now I will tighten this knot like this, and now the bracelet tie will slide through this sliding knot. So this is how we can create a sliding knot for our bracelet. And now let's close the bracelet and see what the bracelet looks like.